So I'm here with TomKyte of the Ask Tom fame, one of our top database gurus, and obviously with 12c, I just sat in on a really interesting session that you did on security. And it seems like you guys hit the holy grail now of being able to actually deal with getting the technical pieces in place to really have separation of roles. You mentioned that you could actually have a DBA back up a database without really being able to see underlying what is going on there. Tom, what have you done differently in 12c to make that happen?
Well, we've taken the super powerful sysdba role and we've broken it up into smaller bite-sized pieces. So, for example, there's a sysbackup role that has the ability to start up and shut down the database, access to a few $V tables, very few specific system privileges, and execute on a few packages specific to RMAN that allows a DBA who has the sys backup privilege and nothing else basically to back up the database without actually being able to see the database. And you might say, well, if you can back up the database, then they could steal that database and take it home. Well, that's where encryption would come into play, for example, so that even if they stole it and took it home, they still wouldn't be able to see it. But if I back up the database, I can back up the wallet too, so I could steal the wallet and take that home. Well, having the wallet, having the data files is not sufficient to decrypt that information. You still need to kidnap the other DBA who has the password for the wallet file. So it makes it virtually impossible for that person performing the backups to mess around with user accounts, to mess around with privileges. They don't have select any table, so they can't see the information. So it's like the holy grail that everybody's been looking for years, which is the DBA who can back up a database, but not actually see that database. We have DBAs who can set up and maintain and manage and monitor a data guard environment, but not actually see the data that's going back and forth in that data guard environment. We have DBAs who can administer the keys in the Oracle wallet without having to have access to the Oracle account and therefore having access to sysdba. We have a new syskm role that's a very small set of privileges, just enough to create a session and administer the keys inside the database. So with these finer grained access controls, if you will, on the DBA accounts, we'll be able to set up very specific DBA roles, limiting what the DBA can do to just what they need to be able to do.
The other thing I find that really funny is you asked the audience how many DBAs have root privileges and sudo privileges and sysadmin privileges, and just about everybody put up their hands and it was pretty much unanimous. So it's obviously a need. I mean, if you are trying to secure and lock this down. You made a point that the wallet now can be stored in, did I understand that right, rack ASM, so how is that going to help out?
Well, we can now store the wallet in an ASM environment, so that means we don't need a clustered file system to expose the wallet to all the nodes in the cluster, or to copy the wallet from node to node to make sure it's available all over the place and then synchronize those copies. So it's mostly a manageability feature, but it also in effect hides the wallet a little bit. It's not sitting there at the file system, it's sitting inside of ASM, so you would actually need to be a DBA in effect to get access to this information. So it makes it a little bit harder from a security perspective just to see the wallet and be able to just pick it up and borrow it or steal it.
One of the things you mentioned was with moving pluggable databases, you actually had to change up the wallet from 11GR2. What exactly did you do to make that possible? Yeah,
in the multi-tenant database architecture, a few files belong to the root database. So, for example, the redo log files, there's just one set of those, regardless of how many pluggable databases you have. Same with control files and a stored parameter file. These files belong to the root database, and that includes the Oracle wallet. And that means when I unplug a database in the multi-tenant architecture, I need to take with it all of the information that is specific to that pluggable database. That includes the entries in the Oracle wallet that belong to the root database, the container database. We needed the ability to extract that component of the wallet and move it along with the pluggable database and then import it into the wallet and the receiving container database that we're going to plug it into. So we had to come up with a way to move the information out of one wallet, transport it in effect, and then import it into another one. In the past, the wallet belonged to the database. And if you move the database, you just move the wallet. Now we need to take a couple of cards out of there and just move those with the pluggable database.
So it'll look and feel just like you were on, say, a native database as opposed to a pluggable database, but you've actually done the underlying plumbing to actually fix that.
Yeah, that was one of the main goals of the multi-tenant database architecture, was to make it so that the plugged-in databases look, feel, smell like, talk like a single instance Oracle from 11GR2. So from the application developer perspective, there would be no change in functionality. It would work just like the old architecture, but running in this new architectural framework.
Excellent. Tom, thanks again for a great talk and for all of the experience that you lend to the community.
Okay, thanks.